y'all, this is Melissa. I was coming to you today to do two things. But before I tell you, I hope that if you like this video that you will subscribe to my channel, click the like button, and hit the notification bell. So the two things are, I wanted to do a tutorial for you on the moon style method of doing the eyeshadow application, and it's actually a pretty easy application that I do for you. Not a lot of blending and so forth. And I wanted to discuss with you is the Tarteist Pro Remix palette still worth the hype? This was a spring release. Actually came out November 2018 for the spring season, and I got it on sale for Memorial Day sale. So, Amazonian Clay Tarteist Pro Remix. Is it still worth the hype? And how does it compare to other things that I've heard about from Tarte? How does it compare with my Too Faced Chocolate Gold? How does it compare with other stuff? Does it stay on after I've worn it for a while? So, Tarteist Pro Remix. So, if you are interested in hearing about this and other interesting and fun things, stay tuned. Okay, so I have everything done on my face except for my eyes here, and I'm starting off here with the Tarteist Pro Remix palette. And as I open it up here, I've already dipped into it this week. Here's what this looks like inside. It's a very nice palette, big mirror inside. And I'm doing for you today a little bit different eye look. I'm doing, I think they call it the moon look here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with my first Luxie 245 brush here. And I am dipping into this one here called Flow, right here, for my brow bone. Starting off right here from the corner over on this brow, and I'm going from the crease up just the same. I'm basically doing this starting off the same way I do most of my eyeshadow looks, but there will be some variation here come towards the end, and these go on from this Tarte Pro Remix palette. It does not take much of the shadow because it's just very pigmented, very strong. So let's see, I'm going to do this side over here, starting there at the corner of my eyebrow, going down and over to spread that. Getting up in the little hairs of that there. I'm going to spread that over a little bit. I'll tell you, when I spread that, that almost goes all the way over. It does not take much. Okay. And actually over here, I'm going to use this Luxie, I don't know if I can twist it around here where I can see it. This Luxie, I think it's a 219. And this one here called Mixed Media. Right in here in the corners where I tend to get really dark. One thing with this, these are the only two mattes in this palette, and they are very, as you can see, chalky. That's the only thing. The others aren't chalky. The mattes are. They're very chalky. So you have to just be kind of ginger with those. Just dab a little bit of that up here in these inner corners right there, just to give me a little extra coverage. Alright, now we'll take my Rebel Edge brush, and for underneath of my eyes I'm going to mix the one called Artist and the one called Color Explosion. This one is Artist, This one is Color Explosion. I think you can see that. Nope, I don't think you can. Ah, come this way. This one is Artist, this one is Color Explosion. So it's kind of a mixture of the blue and the green together. So I'm just going to take that right across the bottom here of my eye on both sides, coming right here to the inner part of my iris with that on both sides. From the outer corner right there all the way to that inner part of my iris on both sides. Okay. And I'm doing the same color combination here just for the very bottom part right here, and as I go further up I'm going to be just in the Color Explosion, the green. So you'll notice as I'm doing this outer part here, it's the V, it's going to look just like what I do on my normal videos as I'm doing a normal eye look with just this with the lighter here. But for the moon eye, you know, you do the darker here, the darker on the inner, and just light in the middle. So you'll see how I do that using this. So here we go. I'm just doing, get my mirror where I can see it. Okay, so I'm just bringing that up right there on that corner, making that little V right there, coming up right here on this corner to make the rest of that V. Alright, and I'm just going solidly into the green now, into that Color Explosion. And now as I'm going across for this, I usually just go about halfway to 3/4 across. I'm going to take that all the way across as I go across here. I'm going to go all the way across with that, all the way across in that crease, all the way to my inner corner right there. You can see how that looks. So, and I'm leaving a little bit of extra room there so that there's more room for that center. Okay, now to get that inner corner, as I'm dipping in, I'm trying to get this long side of that, not the short side, but the long side, down into that color a little bit more. Because I'm going to come in right here, and I'm going to put that like right down against my lash line, just like this. You see how that lands right there? Just right even with your eyeball there, your eyeball, right there even with your eyelid. And I'm just coming up just a little bit. And then see how that's shaped with your eye? And I'm just going to move that down just a little bit. Because it doesn't really take that much in the corner there to get that effect. Because you really want to leave room for that lighter color in there. Okay, that's ready for that center piece, that center lighter color on that side. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing here on this other side, making that line up to there, this line here. See how that made that triangle there? I'm going to fill that in. Get me some more of this green Color Explosion. Fill that in like I normally do. And then I take that all the way across here. Only instead of stopping, normally I would stop right there. And I'll take that all the way around to that very inner corner. All the way to right there. And we'll dip in, taking that long side right in the corner of that green. And you see how I take that long end and I put that right there. See how it just fits your eyelid like that? And I just move it forward right along it, just like that. Just a little bit. And then I take it, same thing, right along the lash line and come up just a little bit. just like that. And that's really about all you need in the way of that green right there. And it winds up making a green ring all the way around, but if you have some green all the way, that's okay too. I normally only go 3/4, but since I'm already there with it, I'm just going to smooth out that green, and we've got green. So, alright, I'm going to take my little puff here. I'm going to smooth out anything that isn't where it belongs. Right there like that. I'm also going to take this big shader brush here. I think this is my Color Profusion shader. And I'm just going to tap those corners there just so that it's not quite so in your face with that. There we go. Alright, now the next color I'm going to use is Art Deco for my light color in the center. And for this, I'm going to take this, it's actually a small Luxie 245. It's like a little short baby one. I think it's made for travel. So, and actually before I do that, I'm going to take a little bit of this Wet n Wild concealer, and to make that stick in there really good, you just take a little dab of that right there, right where you want that to land. And you just dab that right in there like that. That's right where I want that to be on each side, because that's where that little moon is going to be on each side there. And I'm just going to tap that out just a little bit with my finger. Make sure that's everywhere I want it. Alright. There. So that's about where that blue is going to go. I put the concealer there to make it stick better. Okay, so I take that Art Deco color, this one, get it where you can see it. Alright, and I tap that on there. And that concealer just makes it stick on there really nicely. And you really don't have to rub it, you more just tap it on there. Okay, tap some on this side. I'm trying to decide if that's highlighter I see on my cheek or it might be a little bit of that Art Deco. I'll have to do a little swipe on my cheeks just to make sure. Okay. And I'm kind of pulling my eyelid down just a little bit. I personally have little creases in my lid, so as I'm doing that, I'm kind of pulling down just a slight bit, just to make sure it's in the way in that crease too. Okay, and then I'm going to take that green again on here and just make sure that that line is solid across the top of that in case if any of that blue got on there. That way that moon is defined. Okay, now I'm going to take this brush that I had in the lighter, and I'm going to take just a little bit of this one here called Inspiration, and I'm going to put that on my inner corners here, just for a little bit of lightening. And I may even put just a little bit right down in here, even underneath where I've got that green. Okay, so I'm going to put on my eyeliner and my mascara and be right back. Okay, so this is the final look. Let me show you the eyes here. That's the moon. look. And actually, the middle with the blue was so dark that I actually tapped in a little bit extra of this color flow that I did underneath and on top. So, for me personally, I like my regular way of doing it. I don't really care for this. I feel like it's too dark and in your face for me personally, but I know some people do like this look. So, the Tarteist Pro Remix, is it still worth the hype? I don't know. I think for me, it's a good addition to my palettes because of all of the many colors, and particularly on account of these two blues. I needed two really good blues, and of course I love this green. I love that green, and I'm always up for another good green. And honestly, there's some really nice, these neutral shimmers are good. This is a beautiful purple shimmer. I've actually used every one of these glitters on the side. And when I was reading the reviews, some of the issues people were having where they were saying, particularly this black one, this black glitter, did not work for them, and that it was chunky and that it didn't spread well. I actually used that the other day, and I had no problem at all with it. This purple one right here, I actually wore that to church to sing the other day. Had no problem at all with that. So I've used quite a number of these with no problem. So, is it worth the $50 that they charge for it? I don't think any of them are. Okay? Sorry. If you have $50 and you really want all those colors and you need all those shimmers, sure, probably. You know, I've heard people say, well, you know, it's not a good palette because you can't make a whole look with that many shimmers and only two mattes. Well, you know me. I can, because I use all shimmers. And I only really use the mattes for my inner eye and occasionally for the little in the corner, but very seldom. So, I think it's a great palette. And I got it at the Memorial Day half-price sale at Ulta. I ordered it online. It came in. And so I will definitely use this. Is it a replacement for my chocolate gold? Depends upon what I'm wearing. Depends upon what I'm wearing, and depends upon what I pack with me to travel. This might be what goes with me to travel. Depends upon what I pack. It depends upon what I need. If I'm packing some blues along and I need blues, well, this has my green and my purple as well. It has my gold. It has some silver. You know, maybe. So for me, this was a good buy because it includes the blue as well. So besides that, it's got a flat front, and it doesn't have the gold stuff on top that makes everything rocky on top when you try to pack along with it. So I think for me, it will definitely see some use for that. So I did want to show you that and say that worth the hype? I would say yeah, probably so. Worth the price? Depends upon what you're willing to pay. And that's kind of, everybody has their line on that. So I would say it's still a good palette. I would say from what I've seen, Tarte and Too Faced seem to run parallel as far as their quality. But this is the Amazonian Clay Tarteist Pro Remix palette. And I've actually been pleased with it so far. And I've used it all this past week since I've had it. Just giving it a good run, a good test. And I've been pleased. So I wanted to just give you a quick tutorial. A little something different. The Moon eyeshadow tutorial. Give you a quick review on this to say, you know, is it still worth the money, worth the hype? Do the colors really work the way that they should? You know, I would say this is probably a better buy than Tarte's new release, the High Tides Good Vibes, because they have some glitters in there that the reviews are really terrible on, and I've actually seen before and after of like when they first put it on looks great. The lady comes home after a night out and it looks ooh, bad. So I know when I come home after this, the end of the night, this stuff is still on. Of course, they're not glitters. They're shimmers. Shimmers, because I love shimmer. Sorry, you know me. I love shimmer. That's why I love this palette. It's got a lot of shimmer. So for me, was it still worth the hype? Because this was released in November of 2018. It was supposed to be their spring release. And of course, spring is just now over, so that's probably why it's on sale. But yeah, I think it's probably still worth the hype. For me, it is. I think it was a good release. So anyway, you have a good day, and you remember that you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye till next time.